Well, hey, you guys. So there's not going to be a lot of time Tuesday with Miss Marquita there for me to really give you the answers to the two questions that I got last week. So I thought a good way is just I could record it, upload it to YouTube, and then post the link here on the text group. So let me just get right to it so y'all don't have to sit here and watch a really long video because y'all know I like to talk. Okay, so the first question that I got was from Connor, which I really appreciate. The new guy showing up with questions. And he talked about how was Samson, how would he have ever been able to keep a Nazirite vow if his purpose was to destroy the Philistines? Great question. So I really wanted to kind of get down to the meat of it to give you a good answer. And I've come up with 3 different answers. And the third one is the one that I'm really more settled with. But again, any of these 3, I mean, they could be true, and it's kind of one of those open hand things that I tell y'all about, that it's not a divisive issue, just where do you land on it, and we're still all friends, right? So there's 3 different answers I can give you. So one, in Judges chapter 13, verse 5, it simply says that Samson couldn't cut his hair or eat the grapes or drink the wine, right? It doesn't really say that he can't touch or be near a dead body. Now, on that question, can they touch the dead body if you're under a Nazirite vow, or can you just not be near it? Commentary goes both ways on that. Don't really know. If you're under a Nazirite vow back in the day, I just suggest you try to avoid death. So anyway, Judges 13:5 doesn't specifically say that Samson can't touch or be around a dead body. So that may be how he could have done this, because that part of the vow was not instituted to him. God didn't put that on him. The reason I can't settle with that one is because it does say specifically that he's going to be a Nazirite unto God. And when we go back into number 6, we can see what being a Nazirite is, and that's included in it. Even if it's not specifically said in the scripture, I still feel like that would have been part of it. If you go with that answer, that's great. That's fine. So number 2, it's possible that on those times where he's killing these enemies with his bare hands, remember it says, every time he does it, it says that the Spirit of the Lord rushed upon him. So I've seen that some say that when the Spirit of the Lord rushed upon him, it was kind of an exception to the rule. Like, the Spirit of the Lord rushed upon him, he did the things, and it was okay because the Spirit was with him. So it's kind of an exception to the rule sort of thing. But now let's remember, when he killed the lion with his bare hands, it says the Spirit of the Lord rushed upon him. He killed the lion with his bare hands, but what did he do afterwards? He went back and took the honey out of the dead carcass, which we all agreed was really gross. The Spirit of the Lord wasn't with him on that, was it? And then remember how he gave the riddle and said, if you lose, you owe me 30 garments and 30 changes of clothes and vice versa. And so he ends up losing because of his wife over there running her mouth. Remember that? So he goes and kills, the Spirit of the Lord rushes upon him, and he kills some Philistines. But then he goes back and takes their clothes to fulfill this bet. So that part, he would have been touching a dead body, right? And that the Lord was not with him on that one either. Okay, so that's a good one. I can go with number 2. He still broke the Nazirite vow, but he would have been allowed to do the killing as the Spirit of the Lord rushed upon him. Maybe it gave him an exception to the rule. But here's the one that I really land on, because I feel like it teaches us the most. Scripture says that Samson would begin to save Israel from the hand of the Philistines. It doesn't say how. And remember how I told y'all that the only thing he gave God to use was his disobedience. He didn't offer up his obedience until right at the very end, after he's already been a prisoner of the enemy. And that's when he offers up his obedience, and God's able to use him in that way. And remember, right at the very end, when he offers his obedience, he doesn't touch anybody to kill them. He pulls the pillars down and dies right along with the Philistines. Finally, he gave him obedience. But all up through then, all he offered was disobedience. So this is kind of where I stand on it. God still used that disobedience, but all that stuff he did still broke the Nazirite vow. Even killing with his bare hands, going back and touching it, he was always in disobedience. But God used it. So number 3, I kind of land on. You might like number 2, you might like number 1, but there's you 3 things. Sometimes Scripture just leaves things a little bit of a mystery, and I like it because it makes us curious, it makes us ask questions, and it makes us dig in. So I hope that's helpful, and I would like to hear what y'all feel about it. Like, which one do you go with? Which one do you feel you land on? Okay, so the other one came from Mary. And she had asked, does the Bible say that Israel will lose their name? Now, at first I told you that yes, it does, because I felt like I remember reading that. But as I studied, I think I just remember being asked that question before and having to study it, because I can't really specifically find it, not in Revelation or anywhere else. Maybe if Miss Anna will watch this video and she has any other insights on it, but I couldn't find a thing. But what I could find was Psalm 83:4. And that says, they say, come let us wipe them out as a nation. Let the name of Israel be remembered no more. So this is a psalm, and this is talking about like when so many people were coming against Israel, they were ready just to wipe them out simply because they were people of God. They were God's chosen people. But now that won't ever happen, because Scripture also tells us God always leaves a remnant of believers. Even in tribulation, there will be a remnant left. Okay, so Israel will never be completely wiped out. Now, what we talk about Israel from the past is now what we would consider Christians now, Gentiles, Jews, whatever. And the world is still trying to wipe us out. You can see it in other areas of the country, more than really you see it in the United States. But remember, like the Holocaust, right? What was Hitler's purpose? He wanted to wipe out the Jews. And Jews were the Israelites from back in the day. So, that's always going to be the enemy's tactic. It's just to wipe us out, get God cleared out of this earth. Any believers, his word can't be spread anymore. But what do we already know about the enemy's fate? He's not going to win that battle. We will never cease to exist until Christ returns, brings us back, and even still he builds us a brand new, perfect, untainted by sin earth for us to live on. And guess who will be wiped out and remembered no more? The enemy. I hope that answers your questions. If you got any more, just comment on this thread. Send me a text personally if you want to. That's what I got for you. See you on Tuesday. If I don't see you Sunday, love you, mean it.